Welcome to the Retro Gamer Ranting Podcast, the place for the random rantings and ravings of retro gaming, indie gaming, and maybe, just maybe, some newer stuff too. Enjoy!
Hello everyone, welcome to the new year. This is the Retro Gamer Ranting Podcast. I am the Retro Gamer Ranting, aka Twitch, aka Retro GR, aka too many AKAs. How are you doing? I hope you guys had a wonderful New Year's, a happy holidays. This is the first podcast of the year. This is my second podcast ever. I guess you can say my first podcast was just an experiment, I'm not sure. But I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I mostly just sort of talked about Arkham Origins and stuff just because I wanted to. But that's what this is about. This is nonsensical. This is unscripted. This is me doing exactly what it says. Ranting. And hopefully you're hearing me a little bit clearer right now. So you're... Because I have a snowball microphone now. I got it for Christmas. Well, I didn't get it for Christmas. I got Amazon gift cards for Christmas, and therefore I used that to buy my snowball microphone. If you caught my end of the year live streams, the first time I used it, and I don't know, I'm just giddy as all heck that I have this. I enjoy it. I even bought a pop filter for it. Got it really cheap because it was on sale, and we have Amazon Prime now, which also gave me a bit of a discount, I think. So I got like free 2-day shipping, which was pretty sweet. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I'd highly recommend doing it because you get to stream movies for free, and there's even some TV shows that you can stream free. Not quite as good as like Hulu and stuff. You just get to like stream one episode from a season or something. Excuse me. A little scratchy today, so you will be hearing me in my full scratchiness, I suppose. So I'd recommend it's about $70 a year. For Amazon Prime, and we use Amazon for a lot of stuff, so it was really worth it. But anyway, I got my snowball microphone, and I love it so far. What I did, I did a live stream with it, and afterwards I actually played a previous live stream with my old microphone, which my old microphone is literally just my my old microphone was literally just my webcam. Which, starting off, wasn't too bad, but unfortunately, it's not a good mic in the sense that it would really catch everything and just spike everything. Where the snowball here, it regulates it and makes everything sound crisper and cleaner. So that was basically a microphone I've been using for the last 3-4 years, and it's all my own darn fault. I had plenty of opportunities in the past to buy myself a better microphone. I even had my best friend last Christmas say, well, what do you want for your birthday? Well, it wasn't Christmas, it was my birthday, which is close to Christmas anyway. He goes, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, I want a headset microphone. Instead of going to Amazon going, I want that, because he was literally just going to buy me anything, because he's still a bachelor and all that good stuff. So she's like, dude, I'll buy you anything you want. And I copped out and I went to Walmart and I bought this really crappy headset microphone combo that I think I've only used a couple of times. And I didn't tell him that it was really crappy because I didn't want him to hurt his feelings. But the other day when he came over, I showed him my new microphone and he's just like, oh, cool. And I think in the back of his head he's just like, didn't I buy you a new microphone last year? So I think he might be kind of upset at me for that. But it's my own darn fault, you know. And then any other time before that, like any time I saved up money and the such to get something, to get this, I would end up spending on video games or something else altogether. So it's my own fault. I should have had this microphone years ago, and I don't. And now I do, and I just kick myself for not having it sooner. This thing's a beast. It's huge. I'm afraid it's like a little robot, and it's going to come to life any second. And hopefully be friendly. But I love it. It's great. Got a lot of cool stuff. Got like a little mini RC helicopter from my son. Like my wife let him run around and pick out stuff. So he picked out a little RC helicopter, which I'm afraid to use because I've never, I used to play with cars and stuff, the RC cars, but never like something that flies. And You're supposed to be able to use it indoors. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. So I'm like afraid to use it. So, because I was trying to use it the other day, and it's really lightweight. It's like this little lightweight bug helicopter. And so it can take falling, thankfully, because I made it fall a couple of times. So I'm like really paranoid for using it because I'm like, oh my God. So I'm going to wait till summer and maybe use it outside, which is probably a bad idea because I'll probably fling it into the traffic or something. But it's really cool. He also got me this giant sized Darth Vader, and it's sitting in the corner of my room. He doesn't understand why I haven't opened it yet. He doesn't quite understand why Daddy has toys he doesn't open. It's just sort of standing there staring at me, so that was awesome. My wife got me Mystery Science Theater 3000 25th Anniversary tin, which I might just do a full review of here soon. I know I don't usually do like movie or show stuff, but I'm such a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that I might just do a sort of unboxing / review of it. It's really awesome, really enjoyable. I love Mystery Science Theater. Has documentaries on it, has about, let me see, how many movies are on there? About 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 movies on it. Let me look. I have it right here next to me. I'm pretty sure there's about 6 movies. Yep, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has Moon 02, The Day the Earth Froze, The Leech Woman, Gorgo, Mitchell, and The Brain That Wouldn't Die. So that's pretty cool. It has a couple of bonus features with some documentaries and stuff. Not all the bonus features are actually really good, but I don't know, it's just fun. I just love myself some Mystery Science Theater. Me and Mad Dog sit down and watch that all the time. We particularly like the Gamera Mystery Science Theater ones and the such. So yeah, so pretty fun little stuff. Got a 1 terabyte external hard drives I can use for backing up my videos, and a couple other cool stuff, some shirts and that. But so overall pretty nice. Couple of gift cards. Got a Nintendo eShop card that I used to buy SteamWorld Dig on my 3DS, and that's about all I bought so far. I don't know what else to spend it on right now. I just don't use my 3DS that much anymore. I don't know why. I did this over the holiday because I stayed over at my parents' house for Christmas and stuff, so I didn't have access to my computer. But it's like, I love my 3DS, don't get me wrong, it's fun and I use it, but I just don't use it as much as I used to. Like my last handheld I owned before the 3DS was a Game Boy Advance. And the Game Boy Advance I owned because at the time I was doing home health care for a friend of mine. He was a real good friend of mine, and he unfortunately was bedridden and had health issues, and so but I became an in-home health care giver, which was awesome at the same time. And so he wanted me to bring my Game Boy over, my Game Boy Advance, and play it for him. So I'm like, cool, whatever, and so I was able to use it for that, and there was other stuff I used it for. And then after that, I didn't really see a reason after I was done with that to own another handheld. So I don't know. And then my wife and son got me a 3DS about 2 Father's Days ago, and it was brand spanking new, and and it's awesome, and I appreciate it. And it's great. I just don't see myself playing as much as I used to back when I used to play my old Game Boy and my Game Boy Advance and that kind of stuff. But I had more time back then, and I was traveling more. Now I'm home more, so but still pretty awesome. So pretty fun. What else have I been playing this holiday season? Believe it or not, because I've mostly been playing some random stuff. Playing some Legend of Dungeon, which I got that during the fall sale. And then there was a couple like Draw a Stickman Epic. Not sure if I'd recommend that game. It's definitely more of a tablet game than a Steam game, that's for sure. I'm not sure if I got that during the fall sale or the winter sale. I might have got that. But Murray, I played that during the live stream, or Marai or something, which is a DOS throwback game. It's made like an old DOS game, like Duke Nukem 1 and 2, Commander Keen, Biomenace, that kind of stuff. Really fun game. definitely not as popular as it should be. It's just, I really wish it would take off because I love those old DOS throwback stuff, and I really kind of hope that would come out a bit, and there'd be more of them. But most of the time, all these old throwback games resemble more stuff from Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega era. And I don't know, I don't believe DOS games get enough love sometimes. But it's really, really a fun little game. I downloaded because it was free. I don't know why. It just sort of happened randomly. Because I was just browsing around during the Steam sale. Sam and Max, Abe Lincoln Must Die, which is the one free episode that you can download and play. And I played that a long time ago when it was relatively new. And I just re-downloaded it and played it again the other day. Just hilarious. I really should just go back and I should purchase the whole series. That's the only one I've ever played of Sam and Max. And I should just, if it ever comes down at a good price, I might just purchase the whole thing. What else? Let's see. I think, Lucid. I downloaded a puzzle game called Lucid. It's an older game. But I find it actually quite relaxing. With a name like Lucid, obviously it would be. But it's a fun little puzzle game. And my wife actually enjoys me playing that because she can sit there and be a backseat puzzle person. Because she enjoys puzzle games for the most part. That's kind of what she does. So yeah, so a lot of cool stuff. Randomly here and there, playing a couple other stuff like Thomas Was Alone, Spelunky. I bought Shadowgrounds, haven't played that too much. Borderlands 2, I ended up playing it with one of my friends who bought it for me for a while too. I haven't played that in a bit. Ballpoint Universe Infinite, played that during my live stream. So, a lot of new games. A lot of new games that I got. Probably shouldn't have got for myself around the holidays. But nothing I've really dove into. The only game I'd say I really dove into over the holidays was Lego Marvel Superheroes, which I beat the main story of the game, and now I'm just sort of running around trying to unlock stuff. Really fun game. Really enjoy it. Which leads me to a good segue, actually, which is if you are looking for a Marvel game right now, at least one that was published by Activision on a digital download store, you're not going to find them, which is really disappointing to me. Because it was just the other day I was eyeing up Deadpool for $10 on Steam, and I didn't get it. Because I'm like, oh, well, my birthday's coming up. Maybe I can convince someone to get it for me then. And then all of a sudden I see this article. It wasn't really an article. It was someone talking about on YouTube saying that all of a sudden, unless if you buy the physical disc copy, if you can find the physical disc copy, any digital downloads of any of these Marvel games have been taken down. Apparently it's because Activision's contract with Marvel ran up. So I don't know if it's going to Disney now or if it's up to Disney to find a new publisher. So I hope they're not down for long. Maybe by the time I put this podcast up, they might be back up. But I was kind of disappointed by that because I was eyeing up the Deadpool game because it looks like a fun little game. It doesn't look like it's a very, a great game, but it's a Deadpool game and it looks hilarious. And my cousin owns it, and he's like, it's hilarious. So, So that I found that really weird. I've never seen that happen before. Like, I've even seen companies go out of business and their games didn't get taken down. It's just like, just because Activision's like not in, publishing the games anymore, does that you have to take down every one of their games? I don't get it. Like, they literally just want to cut off all funds to Activision now? I know people think Activision's evil, but wow, this is kind of extreme. So if you're looking for a Marvel game for a digital download, you're probably going to be SOL. Unless if, like, Lego Marvel Superheroes is still on Steam, but that was actually published by WB, who owns mostly DC Comics video game rights. So I found it interesting that, and that's probably one of the best Marvel games that came out during the year was Lego Marvel Superheroes. I'm enjoying it immensely, and a lot of people are saying it's the best Lego game so far as well. And that's by WB Games, who they mostly do DC games. So I find that quite fascinating. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go the whole lending out route, where they're just going to sort of Steam seems to be acting weird right now. I guess I'm not going anywhere because nothing's working. I found that quite fascinating. So maybe they'll just be lending out licenses as they come. Who knows? So, moving on from there, I suppose, I know this is late down the pipeline, but I wanted to touch on this because I did have a lot of opinions on this, at least when it first happened, but I wanted to just see how things panned out beforehand. What I'm talking about is the YouTube copyright controversy and how it's really, 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 really affecting video gamers on YouTube. In particularly, I'm one of them. I do video game vlogging and blogging and reviews and such like that. So it greatly affects me. So I was one of those, it sort of turned into one of those situations where I'm like, I have to follow this. I have to see what's going on. Oddly enough, I saw it coming because Maker Studio, who I'm partnered with, actually sent me an email like a few weeks before it happened. Although in the email it said it wasn't going to kick in until January. It kicked in a lot earlier than that. So, I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing to watch. It's nuts when you just see the internet lose their mind. Especially when it comes to Google, who owns YouTube, obviously, and just see them do this blanket. And that's just it. They haven't really done anything since then. People have been so angry at Google and YouTube, and mostly I'm just going to say Google because it's Google doing this. And I can see where it's warranted because, and I'm not a real big-time YouTuber. And I do know that this has affected small-timer YouTube guys too, YouTube channels. So knock on wood, this hasn't affected me yet. Basically, I did have some copyright, not strikes, but it wasn't a strike. I think there's a strike and a mark or whatever. Just a copyright notice, basically. But they were all copyright notices that I had before, and it was all basically because of Nintendo. And Nintendo's one of the people that, you have to understand. At this point, Nintendo feels like the crotchety old cool grandpa. And I say crotchety old cool grandpa is the fact that you enjoy going to visit him because he has all the cool toys and stuff like that. But at the same time, he don't want anyone else playing with the toys. Like, you can't take your toys home. You can't show any of your friends the toys. So, yeah, it's really cool playing this, but if you show anyone else these toys, I'm going to be mad at you. You stupid kid, why are you showing the toys to your friend over there now? They're going to want one, and they won't go buy one because they saw you playing with it. Why would they go buy one? And so that's basically what it is Nintendo started this, I guess, by saying, all of the footage on YouTube is mine, is ours. And from the sounds of it, at one point you can kind of see their case, at another point you just want to be so mad at them. And I've been a Nintendo fan forever, but just lately they're just doing such weird things. And it just baffles me to no end why apparently Nintendo of Japan just absolutely hates YouTube. Just hates. And heck, one of the reasons why, and I don't even think this is a rumor, I think this is pretty much true from what I've heard, one of the reasons why they're not going to do cutscenes in the new Super Smash Bros. Games is because it's just going to end up on YouTube. It's like, really? So what? They're just cutscenes. People aren't going to people are not going to buy your game because they saw your cutscenes, okay? Especially in a fighting game. I don't, a fighting one-on-one game, you're going to buy so you can fight each other, not for the story. I will admit, Super Smash Bros. Brawl has some really awesome cutscenes in it, but in all reality, I played the game for the game. Super Smash Bros. Brawl is probably the game on my Wii that I have the most hours into, and if it wasn't fighting or spectating games, it was making levels in the level editor, So I just find it baffling that, all these developers are like, oh, you can't have cutscenes anymore. And so that's and so Nintendo kind of started this, and then of course I guess there was some lawsuit that Google got because of a music thing, and that scared them as well. And so now Google decided to put out the blanket policy because they basically want to cover their bases. They want to cover their butt. The problem is the way they did it is they just sort of threw it out there and said, okay, you guys deal with it. We're wiping our hands of it. If there's a copyright notice, you got to talk to them directly. We're not going to do a thing. Which was kind of a boneheaded dick move, if you ask me. They're like, oh, here you go. Here's all these new copyright policies. Go fend for yourselves. And so you have all these big-name YouTubers and small-time YouTubers all of a sudden getting these copyright claims out of nowhere, going from 50 to 100 to 200 copyright claims all in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And they're losing their mind. And if you want to see someone lose their mind, you should have seen Angry Joe from the Angry Joe Show on Twitter the day that happened. Oh my God. I even tweeted about it. I'm like, somebody, YouTube better do something or Angry Joe's going to send a freaking sniper over there. And he had a vlog that he did. And I don't know. I haven't checked it a little bit. I don't know how things are doing, but he basically said he was going to fight it, and then I listened to all sorts of different sides. I listened to Total Biscuit. I listened to, he did some rants about it, and I listened to some smaller time YouTubers, how that was affecting them. I listened to non-gamer people talk about it who, have constantly, who mostly do like movie reviews and stuff. So it's all over the place, and I honestly think Google should do something, and right now, like I said, it's not directly affecting me because for the most part, I think I'm a pretty good boy. I try and use royalty-free music, although apparently even royalty-free music is getting pegged sometimes from fake companies, which again, this is a robot here. Google made a robot doing all this. A robot's looking through all this, looking for this crap. They don't know the difference between anything. People are getting copyright notices on their own music, on their own stuff. And they're like, how am I getting copyright notices on something I own, But, they just set up this robot and said, okay, we're just going to send that out there. And then everyone's like, your robot's broken. And then Google's like, we don't care. Deal. And that's what I find fascinating. And here's the thing, folks. People are all in an uproar. And I'm not, I don't agree with the new copyright policy. And yes, it hasn't affected me, but I'm not saying it's not gonna sometime. I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky few that I think are out there that for some odd reason I've been passed up for the most part, knock on wood again, because I'm saying this and then I could check my YouTube channel and all of a sudden half my videos be striked. And again, most of the videos that were hit were Sega, Capcom, or Nintendo orientated. They were dealing with top 5 reviews and recaps, usually having to do with Nintendo in it. And so I saw that coming in the first place. I knew that was going to happen just because of Nintendo's policies. But here's the thing, folks. Everyone just lost their mind and were like, oh, we're not going to use YouTube anymore. We're going to do this. And I think even the Classic Game Room left YouTube. Like, they didn't leave YouTube, but they're exclusively doing stuff on their website. And everyone's just like, oh, my God. They've been there since the beginning, and everyone thought that was a big power play on their part, and hey, good for them. But again, at the same time, not everyone can do what they did. Not everyone has the resources. I can't do that. I can't just all of a sudden have a website up, have an alternative. Everything I do has to be practically free because that's just the budget I have for this. I mean, look at me. It took me 4 years to get a good mic, for crying out loud. Yeah, granted, that was mostly my fault. But not everyone has the resources that some of these people do have that can just up and leave YouTube and still make money. And you have a lot of people out there that their livelihood is YouTube. They might have quit their job, or they're using the money, they might still have their job, but they're using the extra money from YouTube to help pay gas, bills, groceries. That's basically what I'm doing this for. I'm trying to get to that point with my YouTube channel. And anything like this that threatens that kind of frightens me. And the thing is, there's not an alternative. There really isn't. Nothing compares to YouTube when it comes to this. Everything else costs money. And guess what? We don't have the money in the first place, We're doing YouTube because it's free. And so now with this new copyright policy, everyone's losing their mind, rightfully so in some cases, maybe not so much in others. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And a lot of people have said, well, I'm just going to Twitch TV. I'm going to start live streaming. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If you can do that, go ahead. Go ahead and do that. That's great. I love Twitch TV as much as the next person, but you know what? Not everyone can do that either. One, contrary to popular belief, not everyone has streaming fast internet. I don't. I'm still on DSL. I just upgraded to Uverse DSL on AT&T, which is slightly faster than what I used to have. And by the way, AT&T Uverse is a big old ripoff. So please, I had 4 months of arguing with them on the phone because all they kept doing was taking money from me, billing me wrong, and upgrading me wrong, and all this other stuff. So just stay away from Uverse. But that's a rant for some other time. So I can live stream, but I have to be very specific with what I live stream with because I have very limited, bandwidth for the most. Not necessarily bandwidth, but I can't stream. Like I tried streaming Borderlands 2, and it just gets all pixely. So it's better, it's good that I'm in indie and retro because I can stream games that aren't graphically intense and will actually show up decent on a live stream without too much pixelation. But, I don't have the ability to stream really high quality video footage. Unless, of course, if I'm streaming retro games and video games like Murray and Spelunky and stuff like that, I can stream those without too much issue. And but when I get into more complex graphic games that involve 3D, even games like I've streamed Torchlight 2 before, which gets kind of crazy and can get kind of pixely. So even though I enjoy that game immensely, and I want to stream it, it's kind of hard for me to do so because it might not look good on the other end. And that's the case with a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't have the internet for that. Plus, even if they do have the internet for it, not everyone is a streaming personality. Yeah, I'm kind of comfortable with the fact that I can sit down behind my computer and do a recording and then go back and take out the bits and pieces that I liked to keep and take out the stuff I liked and didn't like. And I can edit it because then I have more control over it. I feel like I can send out a better quality thing. When you're live streaming, everything is live. And I know people do stuff like live reviews and this and that, but it's like you have to always be on your game. And we're not all like Lethal Frag out there who did it. It was basically who just ended his 2-year live stream challenge, and he could do it every day and pretty much be on the ball every day, even when he's sick for the most part. I mean, I'm sure he's had bad days, but, we can't all do that. We can't all be like that. I wish we could. And some people just don't have those kind of personality. I don't even think I have, I'm trying to, I think I do a pretty decent job live streaming, but it's not one of those things that I think I'd be able to do every single day because I feel like I might, wear out. I might wipe out. And then there are other people that just enjoy that comfort behind being able to sit behind the edit desk and, it might take them 3, 4, 5, 6 takes to do a review sometimes. And then you set them in front of a live stream and they start stumbling over their words or they just start saying stupid stuff, which I'm sure I say stupid stuff all the time as it is. They're just not, they don't want to. Or they're shy. You never know. So yes, Twitch TV is a valid, that's valid. If you can do it, fine. You can leave YouTube, go to Twitch TV, do that. But just keep in mind that everyone can do that, So it's one of those danged if you do, danged if you don't kind of things. And it's frustrating. And I find it fascinating. I'm going to see if this keeps up in the new year. I really want people to stick to their guns. I really do. I want people to stay on Google and say, hey, have you fixed this yet? Hey, have you fixed this yet? Because that's what you got to do. Because, yeah, I understand Google's protecting themselves, trying to keep themselves from getting sued again. And yeah, I've heard reports that basically YouTube isn't really making Google money. Not like people think. There's reports out there saying that Google's losing money because of YouTube. So I kind of see this as a cut in their losses kind of thing by throwing this out there and hoping maybe, I know this kind of sounds conspiracy theory-like, but maybe they're hoping a lot of these smaller gaming sites or gaming people might actually leave on purpose. Sounds weird, I know, why you'd want people that are making you income to leave, but you got to think some of the ones that are a little smaller might just be nickeling and diming Google versus making them good money, like the Total Biscuits of the world and the Dodgers and the Angry Video Game. Well, he's not mostly a Google presence, but and Toby Games and stuff. And of course, the large name YouTubers aren't probably going to be affected by this because they're under the big contracts. The smaller contract ones, I forgot what tiers they are, they're the ones that have to deal with this bullcrap. But I don't know. Again, it's just, who knows? Who knows what's going through Google's head? I just hope people stay on them. People with power. People like Total Biscuit and people like Angry Joe who gets huge views, and hopefully they stay on. Maybe they'll change their policy. Maybe something will come down the pipeline. Will work together. The internet will work together. I know that's amazing, and come up with a way to make a law that will actually make, fair use be incorporated, I guess, fairly. Make it a real thing. Because at this point, it just feels like it's just like a handshake agreement. Like, oh, I'm using this under fair use, so please don't sue me. That's basically what fair use sounds to me at this point, especially after this. So I don't know. I guess that's just sort of my opinion on it at this point. I don't know what's going through Google's head. I honestly don't think they're going to say anything unless if they have enough pressure on them. They've already released something saying, tough, deal with it for the most part. This is the new thing, deal with it. And they don't need, Google's like Facebook. They'll change everything. They'll change YouTube. Just like when Facebook goes through major renovations and stuff like that, everyone's like, oh God, this is horrible, this is horrible. But Facebook doesn't care because they know where are you going to go. There's no place else. There's no one to compete with Facebook. So they can do whatever the heck they want. And then they'll just sit there and listen to you complain and nod their head. And then when the people complaining go, well, what do you say about that? They'll be like, tough, deal, bye. Same thing with Google. They pretty much own everything on the internet at this rate. And especially when they own the largest, video sharing company on the internet, YouTube. When they change something, a policy, a layout, incorporate Google Plus, oh Lord, that was a whole other thing. They don't have to say a thing because they're basically saying in the back of the head, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You have no place to go. And everyone likes to think they have some place to go, but right now, unless if something rises from the ashes and tries to take over and gives, and that's just it. Even if something does rise up from the ashes, they're still going to deal with the same copyright issues eventually. If something comes up and actually becomes a viable competitor to YouTube and allows you to upload stuff for free and monetize things, eventually people are, these companies are going to notice and go, hey, you know what? People are copyright infringing all over the place over there. Where do you want you to crack down on it? And the thing is, Google has the power, the lawyers, and the ability to fight that, at least. And yes, I know this whole policy with Google is basically them wiping their hands of it, but, they're powerful enough to be able to handle something like that if it comes down the pipeline. But if this new company from out of nowhere rises up and tries to take over, the first lawsuit they get will just make them crumble because they won't have the resources that Google does. So what do you do, right? I guess, like I said, just keep the pressure on Google, keep the pressure on YouTube, and just say, hey, we're fighting this. And I'm thinking Google just wants everyone to enter the new year and forget everything happened. That's probably why they released this so close to the holidays, because they knew people are going to be busy with the holidays. They're going to be busy with Christmas and New Year's and everything. And so hopefully they'd come back from the holidays and they would forget all about it. That's what I think Google is hoping. I don't think that's going to happen, though. We've seen before that the internet has a very long memory. The internet will uprise over stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows what happens? I hope Google at least changes up their bot that goes through and looks through the equations and the videos and listens for music and inappropriate videos or whatever, or copyright infringing images. Hopefully they'll go in and if anything, that worst case scenario, they go in and they do nothing. But next best case would be that they go in and they fix the bot, and so it's a little more forgiving, and and then of course there's the whole idea of when you do have a copyright strike, you can't make money off it, and the people who gave you the copyright strike instantly makes money off it. So that's fair, A lot of people are ticked off at that, considering it takes like 3-4 months for you to fight some of these copyright strikes as it is, and so that's 3-4 months of you not making money, and that money going to someone who might not even deserve it. But oh well. But it's nice to see that there are a lot of game companies out there that sort of came out and said, hey, we don't agree with this, we want you to make money off our games, it's okay. It kind of gives you a nice list of these game companies that are just like, no, this isn't us. This is YouTube doing this. This is not us, I think Capcom even came out, and Sega came out and said it, which is fascinating considering a couple other companies, Blizzard I think might have even, it's like, we understand this is free publicity for us. We don't understand why this is happening. Email us. And it's like, that's just it. That's the thing. It just makes an extra step of inconvenience for people, and I guess that's just the extra step people are going to have to take until this, I don't want to say blows over, but gets fixed, because if I say blow over, that means everyone forgets about it and has to deal with it, which it could happen too. So I don't know. It's not fair. What are you going to do? So at this point, like I said, there's a lot of places out there you can get royalty-free music. If you want royalty-free video game music, ocremix.com, great place. That's what I used before I got a partnership and was able to use audiomicro.com, which is also royalty-free music, which that's through Maker Studio. I'm able to get a free account through that. So, but there's tons of, royalty-free stuff out there. Just do a search for it, modify it up, be careful with what you show. Don't show cutscenes anymore if you're doing playthroughs. Cut out the background music if you have to. Put in your own. It's going to be an extra pain for people, but hopefully it'll get fixed, And again, if you are retro and indie like me, you shouldn't have as much of a problem, I don't think, because I don't think there's a lot of... I'm not saying every one of them, but indie games understand that every little bit of publicity is useful, so... I'm thinking, for the most part, a lot of the indie games aren't going to be sitting there going, no, give me all the money for this footage. And a majority of retro games, for the most part, which is interesting because, like I said, Nintendo kind of copyright striked a couple of videos I did, like my Super Mario 3D Land review had one, a top 5 list about my most anticipated 3DS titles, and a top 5 list on my Christmas list that I did a few years ago. Like, those all had footage, like trailers, which, again, don't get me started on that. I hate the fact that for some odd reason you get copyright strikes if you use someone's trailer in your footage. It's a trailer. It's meant to sell things. If someone else uses footage from that trailer, you're still selling it. But, someone worked on that trailer. Someone hard worked on that trailer. You shouldn't be making money off it. Oh, really? Because you never put in the credits who worked on that trailer. You obviously don't care that much about who worked on that trailer because it's nowhere in that trailer anywhere. Half the time, maybe somewhere in some fine print. How about this? For all the trailers you guys put out there that you don't want us, why don't you put in there some credits so we can at least credit the people who made the trailer, so maybe you'll be happy with it. But no. We want you to watch the trailer on our terms. Whatever. I can't even remember what I was talking about before I got ticked off at the whole trailer thing. But yeah, but the whole Nintendo thing. But yeah, so Nintendo gave me copyright strikes because I used trailer footage for games I wanted for Christmas and for my top 5 and at the time for my 3DS review, I couldn't record my 3DS. I mean, not in a way that made it look good. So I used trailer footage for my 3DS review of Super Mario Land 3D. So they didn't like that. So I understood that. I'm just like, whatever. But I also did Let's Plays of Super Mario Land on the Game Boy and Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy. And oddly enough, those are fine right now. For the most part. For now. It might not be in the future, but there's multi-parts full playthrough of Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2, and didn't take any music out, or I talk over it for the most part, but they haven't claimed that, so kind of interesting. So that's why I'm kind of hoping the retro route and indie route is kind of a safe way, and so it kind of sucks for people who do more modern stuff, I suppose, and have to deal with all those copyright strikes. And my heart goes out to you, because that would really suck, especially if your YouTube channel is your main income and it's a primarily gaming one, and all of a sudden you're stuck losing half of your income because of copyright claims that might not even be legit. And whatever, So I guess that's it. It's bogus. It's was rolled out wrong, but then again, they did the same thing with Google Plus. They're just going the whole cram it down your throat method. Cram it down your throat. You will eat this soup and you will enjoy it. I don't want any though. No, you're gonna eat it and you're gonna enjoy it. But I want something different. Tough, deal with it. Thanks, Google, you stupid beep beep beep. Oh well. Who knows what the good new year will give us, I suppose. Just stay on them. Stay on Google, I suppose. So there. So that's my thoughts on that. And so I'm just going to try and be extra careful now. Like I said, if I'm doing stuff, I'm going to try and stick to royalty-free stuff. For the most part, I think with indie games, I'm pretty safe with using the music that the indie games have. Because I've done that a couple times, used the actual music in the indie games. So until that tells me otherwise, I think but again, just playing it safe with the royalty-free stuff and all that good jazz. Oh, jeez. Well, there we go, so I suppose, right? That's a friggin' start to a new year, talking and getting angry about some stuff about copywriting. All right, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm testing out my mic, so I'm doing accents too, just to see how it is. I just love this mic. I love it. Seriously. If you can, get it, because it's awesome so far. It hasn't, I don't know if it's going to get less awesome, like some things, but it's pretty friggin' awesome right now. So, another thing, just a quick update about my YouTube channel and about my podcasting. Before I wrap this up, there will be more podcasts. I do enjoy doing this. My next, I was gonna try and go into a little bit of the history of gaming with me. I wanted to talk about PC gaming and me, and just the history I had with it and why I enjoy it so much. But with the whole YouTube thing, I figured I'd touch on that for this podcast in particular, and then my next podcast I'd save where I'd talk a little bit more about retro PC gaming and what PC gaming has sort of taught me as a gamer. Because I sort of grew up, just for a quick preview before I go, I sort of grew up playing the Atari 2600, playing in arcades, playing Nintendo. And then after that, after the Nintendo, my parents didn't get me a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis. They got me a PC or a computer. because they figured, hey, he can use that for school and studying. I love it. I love it when parents think, I'll get them a computer. There's no way the kids, they could. And I did use it for stuff like that. I really did, but I mostly used it for gaming and stuff like that. And I grew up in the DOS era of gaming. There was, you had to know all the DOS prompts and everything else, which now I can't remember any of them to save my life. But back in the day, I learned them all, And it's just, I always felt like those classic DOS games just aren't ever really shown in the same light as classic Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games. When you think retro gaming, people don't just immediately start talking about DOS games. They start talking about Mario. They start talking about Sonic. They start talking about arcades and stuff. They don't really go, oh, Commander Keen, Biomenace, Halloween Harry, Jill of the Jungle. They don't. That doesn't immediately come to their mind. If something does come to their mind, it's like, oh, Wolfenstein 3D or Doom. And there was someone I used to work with. I almost slapped him because we were talking about video games, and I mentioned Doom, and he was a little younger than me by a couple of years, but he was convinced that the first time Doom ever came out, it was on the Super Nintendo. He was convinced. It was like, oh yeah, that came out on the Super Nintendo. That was the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, that was on the PC years before the Super Nintendo. He's like, oh, I thought it first came out on the Super Nintendo. I'm like, oh, God, no, that's like the worst version of Doom. Please don't. Oh, I just was like, oh, I want to strangle you for not having good... And that's just it. Like, a lot of these PC games, they sometimes did finally come over to, like, Super Nintendo stuff like Blackthorn and Doom and Wolfenstein 3D, and a lot of times that was the first time a lot of people were exposed to it. And if they weren't educated enough, that might, in their head, be like, oh, that's where it originally came out on that system. No! So it's always kind of frustrating like that. And I think I'm going to touch on that more on my next podcast. Again, I'm not sure when that's going to be because January is January. The start of January, it's the 3rd right now as of me recording this. I'm probably going to upload this hopefully tomorrow on the 4th. I just, at this very moment, I'm looking at it right now. In fact, it just finished up. I'm uploading a 2014 New Year channel update on my YouTube channel. And so maybe tomorrow I will upload my podcast if I have a chance. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday, so if things get too busy, then I'm not going to worry about it too much, and I'll try getting it at the start of the week. So it's January is still very busy for me. I have birthdays. I still have to do Christmas with extended family. So hopefully by the end of January I have a more set schedule with what I'm going to do with podcasts. I just wanted to get this out there so I have a New Year podcast so I could touch on the YouTube copyright thing and touch on just wishing you guys a Happy New Year and the such. So there will be more podcasts, and like I said, my next podcast, unless if something big happens in between, I will go into more retro theme about classic PC gaming and the such, as you've seen in that preview. So I really do appreciate you joining me for my Season 1, Episode 2 Retro Gamer Ranting Podcast. This has been a blast for me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are listening to this on YouTube, please leave comments down below and share this with friends. If you downloaded this off of the archive website that I have this on as well, I hope you enjoyed it this. And feel free to go to the YouTube channel, leave a comment down below in the review section of where you downloaded this, because all the feedback kind of helps. And I hope you did enjoy this. And again, Happy New Year. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed New Year, and everything is going smooth for you so far, and will continue to. And again, I hope you had a great Christmas as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Until next time, game fans, keep playing, and thanks for listening. Retro Gamer Ranting Podcast, Season 1, Episode 2. Copyright January 2014.